is now on stream, and anybody who's saying things that shouldn't be on stream shouldn't be talking.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, that's mine.
Yeah, that's
I'm
Haz's.
stealing
What are
the
you?
small thing. Yeah. I'll let you borrow it. That's cool though.
All right, as Carl mentioned in chat, please mute your mic.
Oh, the channel says hello, so I say hello.
Hello.
I'm back.
Welcome back. I'm a him score.
Listen.
Stated.
All right, we're gonna just wait another minute or so, and then we'll get this started. It seems like people are still joining, and I don't want to leave anybody out if we don't have to. Hope you all are having a nice day. Where I live, it's still a little cold out. I assume that's not true for everybody. Tic Tac, if you can start spamming the Twitch link, that would be appreciated. So anybody who's not tuned in yet, the slideshow for today's presentation is going to be streamed through Twitch. You can listen through Twitch or listen on TeamSpeak. We suggest only doing one of the two. There's a 3-second delay, so you shouldn't miss anything, or it's not going to be like you're way behind if you're listening on Twitch. The TeamSpeak chat is going to be used for specific times when we're looking for feedback and input during the presentation. The Twitch chat is more open, Wild West. Be respectful in there, but we won't be referring to it. So if you're trying to answer a question or respond in a way, put it in the TeamSpeak chat. Having said that, please leave the TeamSpeak chat empty unless you're asked to put in something by the presenter. All right, I think we've got most of the people that are going to be joining us, so we're going to get started. Today's presentation is going to be delivered by Gamer Reaper, and I'm going to turn it over to her.
Okay, so I would like to thank everyone for coming to today's TAW U. Today's TAW U topic is teamwork. But before we start, I would like to introduce myself. Now, I'm Gamer Reaper, and my journey here in TAW has started a year and 3 months ago when I first joined the Paladins division. I've met a lot of people I'm still in contact with, and some of them I'm still happy to call friends. Some other divisions I've been in is Dota and Realm Royale, which were in Vanguard and sadly had to get disbanded. After that, I decided to come and work here in EDU. I've been here for several months, and this is gonna be the first official presentation, so I hope you will enjoy it. So, in the next slide, we're going to talk about what is teamwork. The benefits of teamwork, how to improve teamwork, and what situations need teamwork. I'll be going into more detail about those further on in the presentation. So, moving on, what is teamwork? Would anyone like to give their own definition of teamwork in the chat? Those are all great definitions, very similar to what we're going to talk about today. So in the next slide, you can see the definition that we are going to talk about. Working with a team, cooperating to accomplish a common objective or goal. A lot of you said very similar definitions in the chat. So in the next slide, we can see some examples that I thought are fit in that definition. Working on a project with a classmate. We all know how it is in school, being assigned to projects and having to work with friends or classmates. Or being assigned to a work group at a job. We can also find teamwork here in TAW as well, when squad leaders work with their squads, trying to win games, and the admin leaders working with commanding officers for the battalions in the best way possible. Moving on, teamwork builds over time and develops through 4 stages. The first stage is dependency, usually on the group leader or the one who is coordinating the project. To start working on the project or objective, each individual in the team needs to have a role or task for them to start being productive. This role can be given by the team leader. For example, in a school environment, that leader can either be your teacher or another fellow classmate. And he's going to decide on the roles and assignments that each will start working on. Next, we have conflict. Not everyone will like the role they receive in the team, or might not agree with the way the objective is being approached. So there might be arguments and different opinions thrown around. Following the previous example, you or another classmate might not like the role he has in the team, or might not like the way the assignment is being approached. Though, in the end, after some discussion, they will find an approach that all will partly agree upon. That's stage 3, agreement. And finally, they will be able to focus on the goal ahead, be productive and aim for success. This makes me think of a quote from Michael Jordan, which says, "Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships." We often see teams made up of excessive star players that don't have synergy and communication with each other, getting outperformed by teams with players who may be individually less talented but work very well together. Moving on to the benefits of teamwork. Now let's talk about the benefits we can find in a team environment. What can you gain by working as a team? First of all, it creates synergy. The combined effect of the team is greater than the sum of individual efforts. Meaning that if a group of game designers work together with game developers to release a game, they would end up having a great game with good animations and without bugs. But if each group tried working on their own, the games they would release wouldn't be as great and would have more bugs and less good quality of animations. And it would be even worse if only one person worked on the game on his own. Furthermore, we can notice that each person consistently reports less stress and frustration, and more chances of enjoying themselves and having fun. Taking the example from before, if only one person was working on the game, he would have the stress of finishing all the tasks himself and by the end of his deadline if he has one. That brings us to focus. Team members seem more focused and each individual can concentrate on his or her role or responsibility rather than worrying about every moving part. Something else we can see in a team environment is that the people working together create bonds. with each other. Exercise give members an opportunity to build trust through open and honest communication. Lastly, but as important, team members often offer ideas that we may not have considered, which lead to creative solutions. Moving on to the next slide. What situations need teamwork? In here, you can see some real-life examples where teamwork can be used. There is the usual example of school or work projects where teamwork is needed to complete. There's also the example of organizations where more than one person needed to work together to make that organization successful. And lastly, democracy, where everyone, us included, work together, defend, uphold, and earn our human rights. Moving on to the next slide. Now in here, you can see examples of where is teamwork used here in TAW. Firstly, gaming. There are a lot of team-based multiplayer games that exist here in TAW. Next, work is needed between CEOs, DOs, DCs, and admin leaders for a division to be kept organized and run properly. And lastly, you can find teamwork in recruitment drives and fundraisings where the admin leaders work together, advertising their division or trying to get donations by organizing competitions and basically promoting the cause. Next, into the next slide, how to improve teamwork. A question that might have passed your mind, though, is how to improve teamwork. Well, that can happen by having a positive attitude within a team. It's necessary for the team to have a positive attitude in order for the team to perform well and achieve synergies. So improving it can drastically make the team's performance better. Negativity brings morale down, so in most cases it lowers the team's performance and promotes a bad working environment. The next thing you want to improve is communication and organization. Working in harmony with effective communication and cooperation within a team is critical to achieve success. Basically, communication within a team is the key to an organized environment leading to success. Talking with each other, knowing what each person is working on or has worked on is a great way to keep in order what else is needed to achieve that goal. Lastly, we have knowledge. So, you can't hire a mathematician to fix your house pipes. He doesn't have the knowledge a plumber has. So you can't have someone working on a task that he has no knowledge on. So to make an effective and efficient team is to make sure that the team has all the required knowledge and resources to complete the task. Moving on to our final thoughts. To sum up, a teamwork environment encourages friendship and loyalty. People get motivated to work together, cooperate, and be supportive of one another, and therefore be more efficient as a whole. Also, we are stronger and better if we work together. Humanity has grown drastically in just a few centuries. That isn't work of just one individual separately, but a lot of people working for a certain goal, which is improvement and growth. We should continue following this path and have teamwork and communication as a solution in most situations. Don't forget that you're not alone. Ask help if you have to, share your successes and your losses, we are a team. So this is the end of this TAW U. You're free to go, or you can stay and discuss what you heard today with others, which is strongly suggested.
All right, everybody. So we've done a little bit of a shorter presentation today because we know that since teamwork is part of what all of our community is built on, we want to encourage people to have sort of an open dialogue here towards the end. So we'd like to invite you guys to unmute your mics. We're going to facilitate a discussion between anybody who'd like to have one. Um, we're going to do this with a moderator. I'm going to try and call on people and have it be somewhat organized. But let's have a talk about teamwork that you've experienced, how you yourself develop it amongst your unit, uh, experiences you've had in the past without going into too much detail about negative experiences and such. So you're welcome to unmute and let's have a chat. If you have questions, we'll start with those if you want clarification from Reaper or have anything you'd like us to go into more detail on. And then once we're done with that, we're going to move into just an open discussion, as I said. Does anybody first have questions for Reaper? You can put them in chat. If you'd like, you can ask them out loud if nobody else is talking.
I do have something to ask for her Reaper.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you mentioned that it works for like the teamwork works for like the higher ups, like the CEO, the DOs, and like can it also work for people like a TS or like the pretty much the non-commissioned officer ranks, like the SO and the TS and pretty much those guys too. Can it work? Can teamwork works for those ranks also?
Well, teamwork can happen in all ranks, all everywhere in the world. So everyone can take a person, group up, and aim for something, aim to complete something, basically.
Thank you very much, Reaper. Thanks.
Evo, you had a question? Evo Deviant?
Yes, I was hoping to ask, what can you do to help encourage teamwork between two people whose personalities clash and to help encourage them to be able to get past that and work together towards the common goal and mission?
Again, I also had that in my presentation. Positivity is a big deal when when being in a teamwork environment, basically. So what you need to do is promote the positivity and make sure that those people are not too clutched in with each other. Just be positive and hope for the best.
If I may add on to that question.
Yep.
Sure.
So if you've tried to help calm down the situation and get them to work together and they're still struggling with the issue, like what's the best way to be able to remind them without seeming a bit too condescending, especially if they're like more on a level equal with you?
So in this situation, I say they can figure it out with themselves. If they have an issue with each other, they can talk it out. And if they're in a team environment that needs, if they're in a team environment, positivity is the best way. So what you can do as a person to those two, my answer is nothing. They have to figure it out by themselves.
Okay, thank you, Reaper. I appreciate your response.
Can I
No.
Yeah.
can I offer maybe a slightly different solution?
And I want to, before you get to that, and we've got a couple things stacked up, I just want to give a clarification. Evo, I don't think Reaper's trying to say that as a leader or as somebody leading a group where there are people having conflict, or if you have a personal problem with somebody, that there's nothing you can do to solve it. I think what Reaper's saying is that in a team setting, eventually the people do need to make up. Like there isn't a way to deal with, there isn't a way to have teamwork if the individuals can't eventually come to an understanding. So in order to have an understanding, I would say chain of command. If we're talking about talk in real life, I think you should really focus on trying to approach the situation in as unbiased of a way as possible and possibly bring in a mediator. What I can tell you, and this is for everybody, we have a separate presentation that we've done in the past on dealing with drama, which talks a lot about how to deal with situations where people may be in severe disagreement. So I'm going to get you guys a link to the stream here in a second. I think Carl's going to paste that for me. But if you have the time, either today or some other time, you can watch that stream over and get some decent guidance on that. But Robot, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off either.
That's fine. I think if you're trying to achieve a goal and you have like a number of tasks and there's people that can't get along or won't get along, having experienced this before, sometimes I this won't work all the time, but sometimes if you give them separate goals to achieve, that will still help achieve the end goal for that time. Yes, you have to eventually learn to get along. I mean, if you don't have a lot of time, if you give them separate goals within the confines of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, that can work as well. You know, kind of have them stay out of each other's hair.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, Carl, I believe you wanted to say something.
Yes, thank you. What I do to add on to this TAW U is that I'm seeing a very wealthy amount of experienced leaders in this channel. So I think for anyone present tonight, it'd be always interesting to hear how you, as a leader, implement or use the word teamwork within your unit, within your battalion, or within your corps, or within your division. It's an invitation. No, nobody needs to, but it's an invitation. If anyone wants to add in, that'd be a really much appreciated.
I see a lot of CCs up there.
I'll make a comment if you would like.
Thank you.
Well, one recommendation is to be the change that you want to see. So as a leader, are you exhibiting the traits or the goal? Are you clearly defining your goals and giving people an example to live by? Do we always succeed in that? Necessarily. But if you have those goals in front of you and that's what you work towards, other people can see how you handle things and they'll want to follow your example.
Agreed.
Can I add on to that, Ron?
Yes, Ice, you can add. Recon, I've
Absolutely.
got you, and we'll get to you next. But go ahead, Ice.
I just wanted, yeah, I mean, to echo that, and one of the things too, just to couple with that, is that in our game, a lot of times we've got to make decisions that are much better for our group, but we know are not going to be necessarily the best thing in the long run, or whether it's short term, long term. But we make a lot of decisions based on what's best for the group at the time, and so I think being able to kind of sit back and kind of eat your own personal feelings on a situation, knowing that it's for the betterment of the group, is kind of essential as well. So those two things I think go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Recon.
Just continuing on with what Rowan said and what Ice also said, another way to take a look at a lot of this aspect is the fact of when it comes to looking at teamwork. Everybody is there for obviously the game that they play. So when you're interacting with each other, when you're playing games with each other, when you're setting up mandatories, the teamwork really comes down to trying to make the environment the best possible and most fun environment that you can for not only yourself but also for your members. So as you're doing everything and keeping them focused, one of the things that should always be kept aside is um, don't let emotions get in the way of it. And by that I mean the fact of don't focus on, like, let's say I'm like Rowan's been down in the ESO. Jenna's with me on a regular basis lately. Her and I are always joking around, but if Rona and I ever have a problem with each other, it's not like, we're going to, we should be butting heads in order to try to make a division a better place for like everybody else. My personal feelings against between her and I. But when it comes to the betterment and to make the game and the area and the environment a fun environment, that's for everybody. So you focus on what is the best possible move for your division, and that will actually flow uphill because the choices that you make to make your division a better place is not only going to help out with member retention, it's going to help keep people around. It's going to put more people in. More people are going to be pushing on recruiting. Your division's going to grow, and it's going to prosper by everybody working together. And by that, your core then grows even larger. By your core growing larger, now TAW has grown larger. So everything we do, from our individual actions to the teamwork that we bring and the environment that we create, makes a large environment on our overall team and our TAW family.
Thank you, Recon. Undead Killer.
Yeah, I'll second that too. It's it's important to make our games as fun as we can for our members. Um, Also, it's very important to listen to our members as well to see what they want to do and see what they want to have from our games. Whether it's comp teams or just playing together or just getting together for even a different game outside of TAW. It's always a good interaction for everybody to get involved with all of the members within our core, different games, or just playing with the newest guys coming in. That's very important, and it's very important to keep our members here. Is very to be more active within our games and helping out, like for teamwork. If our divisions don't have teamwork, then our games are going to die out and we're going to lose our members. But just being more active and playing with our lowest members as as much as possible, and it makes it fun for everybody.
I just want to quickly add before
Yeah, go ahead.
before I just want to say I agree with who was that? Oh, Undead. I totally agree. I mean, I've been in TAW for what 3 years, and I totally agree. If the teamwork in that drops, then there's pretty much no more TAW anymore, And I would hate to see that happen to all of us Undead. I mean, I totally agree on that. So that's all I had to say on that. Thanks, guys.
Something I would like to add is a big part of teamwork is also to make sure that everybody understands the goal of the team. So sometimes this is obvious if we're in a game, right? I'm just going to use CS:GO because I think most people will understand it. If we're in CS:GO, the goal of the team of the five of us is to win the round, and then by extension win the game. And so, we have strategies, we have communication, and the short-term goal is to win that round. The larger picture might be, we want to have fun. That might be the goal. The larger picture than that might be we want to retain members. The larger picture than that might be something bigger. But in those situations, most people usually understand what the goal is. It's not that hard to understand what the goal is. It can be harder to see what the goal is and more worthy of clear communication when we're talking about like members in a unit and leadership of a unit and the staff. So if we're in a battalion, let's just say all of us are one big battalion. Um, we want to make sure that whoever's in charge communicates to the staff what the goals are, whether they're temporary goals, short-term goals, whether they're long-term goals. Maybe one of the goals is we want to recruit 20 more members this quarter, right? In the next 3 months, we want to recruit 20 more members. Well, we should talk to the PIA so that they can spread information about the unit. We should talk to the field specialists so that maybe our mandatory meetings can be more open to new members, and possibly do stuff that gives us public exposure during the mandatory meeting. We can talk to people and have them try and stream. But it's also helpful to just tell all the members because individual members can go out and recruit when they're playing, even if they're not during a regular meeting. So it's important to make sure you have clear communication because it's really hard to do teamwork if not the whole team knows what the goal is. And I mean, just for another example, if we're trying to, do something like win a tournament, right? And I've got a small group, let's say 6 people who are on my competitive squad, and we're trying to win a tournament. We need to meet a few times and practice. We need to plan when we're all going to be here for the tournament. We need to know what each person's job is in the game. And usually that's still pretty obvious because we all know how to play the game. But sometimes the goal could do with some more clear communication because the clear communication really enables people to understand what their individual role is, but also understand what other people's role is. And by having that second level of understanding of what other people are going to do, you enable people to do their own jobs more effectively. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. Does anybody else have questions or other things they'd like to say? All right. Well, in that case, I will. Carl. Oh, hang on. Carl, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, being muted is not gonna help. Um, in case nobody else has any further questions, I would like to thank everyone for being here tonight. I would like to also congratulate Gamer Reaper on probably setting a record of hosting the shortest presentation on a TAW U ever. But regardless of that, I also want to congratulate her on making the promotion to becoming a training specialist in EDU. Congratulations, Reaper.
Thank you.
And the wolves descend.
Hurrah!
And she's gone.
Why she's gone? We have
Oh
to
boy.
repeat.
All right, so
All
there's
right,
there's
everybody
something
leave
like
the room
30.
now. And she comes back to an empty room.
Hey, welcome back.
Hurrah.
I
Break on
forgot
up.
to change my name.
Oh, that deserves a kick.
She's out of uniform, right, guys?
Out of uniform. Not okay. In all seriousness, thank you all for being here. I want to
Let's
give
just kick it a few more times.
I want to give everybody who showed up a thank you for showing up. I want to give TSO a thank you for helping us with the stream. It does take a decent amount of legwork just to make all of this possible. There was several EDU members who contributed to this project, so it's not just Reaper, but Reaper deserves a lot of the credit. So please be nice to her whenever she does come back. And
Oh, don't worry, we will.
If she comes back. No,
if we have really no idea. If anybody's interested, the other TAW U's are listed and linked in the channel above us, the general TAW U channel. And thank you all for being here. That's going to be it. But if anybody wants to stay and chat, this channel will remain open for the rest of today at least. And we hope everybody got something out of this. Welcome back.
No, I
Thank
want to
you.
come in
Don't
tomorrow
forget
and
to
chat
give
if that's
feedback,
okay.
guys. Thank you.
Oh yes, there's a link in
fucking
chat for feedback. It really helps us make these things better. We have multiple different programs, so if you've done anything in our online classes or read our guides, you can give feedback on those same sheets, hopefully. All right, I'm gonna kill the stream.